that has happened to you only happened to you because you didn't put in the work, only happened to you because you weren't focused enough, only happened to you because you did something that you shouldn't have done. And you have no choice but to learn what the fuck that was and make sure that doesn't happen again, because that sucks.
So in
I
other
just
words,
got cracked.
life lessons. Don't talk shit to Joe on the Fear Factor. He'll put you in the headlock and slap you around like a hoe. And
I only did that to one dude. I only did it because I thought he was going to hit me. He wouldn't get away from my face. I pushed him away from me twice, and I was like, if this guy comes in again, I'm just going to manhandle him.
I mean, you know, some people are really brave when it comes to barking on a woman, but when they deal with a man, it's a whole nother story.
Well, I was, trying to make sure that I wasn't sued, too. Like, I didn't want to do anything. I knew there's 9 cameras on me. It was like when I had the back of his head, I wanted to make sure that nothing I did was going to get me in trouble.
No, because, I mean, in that position, you could have done so many other things that would have just left him
I was so
smoked.
angry, too, because I knew this guy had, like, done some shit before on other shows. He, like, attacked some counselor on one show and threw his wife on the ground on another show. I knew he was crazy. So I was like,
I'll say this much: when I was a young man, my father told me, he said, "Listen, the man who hits his woman is a coward." Like, my father was a very strong man. He said, "Listen, because he's taking out all the problems on the rest of the world that people are giving him, you know what I mean, for all of this, and taking it out on the person that's supposed to support him instead of him doing that." And I asked my father, I said, "What if it's the woman?" You're talking
about Sean Connery.
what if it's the woman that's giving him all the problems? And I said, "Yo, at that point, you just get up and leave. That's the worst thing you could do to a woman that's obsessed with trying to ruin your life. Get up and walk out the door and never answer a phone call and never, you know what I mean?"
Yeah, well, you just got to never let it get down that road. When you see it getting down that road to being so crazy you might hit each other, you got to get out. Either change, both of you, come to some mutual agreement, or get out. People don't, they get in these crazy patterns in relationships. That's a big part of the fucking problem. They get used to being in a situation where they yell and scream at each other, and then when they get into the next relationship, it totally seems normal.
Or they grew up like that.
I grew up like that. Did you grow up like that?
I grew up with both of my parents together. I'm not saying that everything was perfect, but I put it this way. My father was a very, very strict and very, very, tough man on us. But I've never seen my dad hit my mother, and I've never seen my father drunk in my life, ever. Like, my dad he taught in a military academy. He was, really, really tough on us when we were kids. But at the same time, I can say that I am everything I am because, somebody loved me, because he took the time to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my son who's 12 to the Amazon jungle with me. Oh, you're scared of roaches? Well, what happens when they're all flying the fuck around you? Now deal with it. You know what I mean? Deal with the reality of fucking life, dude. This is life. You think you're poor because we live in Harlem?
Right. Let's go to the jungle.
Let's take you to some little real fucked up area in Peru so you can see people that eat cardboard smashed in with dog meat, and that's their lunch. And I know it's cardboard. You know it's cardboard, Joe. They know it's cardboard too. But they're still going to eat it because they're fucking starving. He's like, so I think my pops really just kind of beat the lessons of life into me. You know what I mean?
That's good, man. That's good to have. That's a lot of times kids will resent a father like that. They put so much effort and work into it. But it's tough for a dad, too. You got to know when to let that fucking kid be himself.
Oh, I know.
It's hard to raise children.
I mean, I put it this way. For a long time, me and my father had a very, very negative relationship because of all the crazy stuff I was doing. And then, when I got older, I started to realize that a lot of the things that he was trying to do were things that were very effective. Like, for one time, he kicked me out. Real shit. I hardly ever talk about this, but fuck it, we're here. And he was basically like, no, look, I love you. You're my firstborn son. But, you got drugs in this house. There's something else in there. You know what I mean? And you're endangering the family. I'm not going to let you endanger your mother and your younger sister by running around here being crazy. So you know what you can do? You can get your stuff and you can get the fuck out. And real shit, I left.
How old were you?
16, 15,
You kind of
16.
have to do that when you have a 15 or 16-year-old that's doing that. You really don't have any options.
And for a long time, Joe, I was kind of resentful until I sat back and I said, damn, as cliche as that sounds, that really must have hurt him more than it hurt me, because I was like, fuck you, and I left and I walked out. But for him, it must have been like, damn, are you that ignorant? Are you that foolish at that age? Which is why I always believe, when I see people that are in those circumstances, this was even before I went to prison. This was before I had any real legal
What'd you go to
trauma.
prison for?
For assault.
What happened?
I had multiple assault charges. I just used to fight a lot when I was a kid. I thought that would solve everything. You know, I was one of those idiots that was willing to fight to the death against someone who's not my enemy. And the street is full of those fools right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're like, oh, man, this is the life. No, this is not life or death, homie. You're going that way, and someone's in your way. You can go around them, and it'll be a lot less time.
I'm amazed sometimes at how lippy people will get for no reason.
For no reason. And
people get crazy. Like, they're ready to go. It's almost like they're bluffing, but if you call them on their bluff, they'll go. You know, most of the time people are bluffing, but they're putting themselves on fucking a yellow light. They're putting themselves in a bad situation.
But I mean, at the same time, Joe, this is not to excuse my actions in any way, shape, or form. I take responsibility for them. But New York was a very different city. Like, if you grew up in New York in the late 80s, early 90s, you had to have some kind of physical confrontation, or somebody was going to treat you like a victim. Like, if somebody wanted your hat, it was like, nah, homie, you can't have this hat because you ain't pay for it. Oh, well, give it, and that's where we start.
I lived in Jamaica Plain for a little over a year. Jamaica Plain is the first place we moved to in Boston, and it was a pretty poor and real mixed area, and goddamn, I had to avoid everybody on my block or I would get my ass kicked. Everybody wanted to fight all the time.
All the time.
Kids were always trying to pick fights. They'd always talk shit to you, and you're like, look, I'm going home, leave me alone. And like, they're just constantly talking shit with you, constantly fucking with you, big groups of kids, small groups of kids. And when kids are alone, they're loose like that, especially in poor neighborhoods, so they grow up. Most of the time they're growing up with their fucking parents, or they're not having the best time. That's why they were in a poor neighborhood. So there's probably violence at home, or screaming at home, or chaos at home. And these kids are just fucking loose out on the street. It was... that was like what really inspired me to get into martial arts. I was like, fuck this, man. This is too dangerous. Everywhere I'm going, someone wants to fight. I don't know how to fucking fight. Like, this is crazy.
And when you got the martial arts, then you could just call them out. You're in a big group of people.
No,
be like, look,
you'd rather not, man. You know, the martial arts make you just walk left.
No. But
right.
I mean, when you're backed into that corner, not go find fighting.
I know what you're saying.
Because I'm saying, when you're in that place, in that situation, and there's like 8 people talking reckless, it'd be like, listen, homie, if you're a real man, why don't we just shoot the 5 right now? You
shoot the 5? What is that?
It means
5
just
knuckles?
go one-on-one.
No, it's only 4
shoot the
knuckles,
5.
right?
Let's shoot the 5, homie.
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
Shoot the 5 fingers?
Or we get the fair one. That's what they call it, the fair one.
The fair one?
The fair one. Over here on the West Coast, let's catch this fade, homie. You know what I mean? But out there on the East Coast, let's shoot the fair one. Because it's just me and you. All we have is space and opportunity.
I'm amazed at how many dudes are willing to fight that actually don't know how to fight. That's always,
that's always
true, amazing.
Yeah.
When I watch them,
definitely true.
I'm like, that's incredible. You don't even know anything, and you're out there scrapping. Like, this is
They're
ridiculous.
doing the windmill out there.
They're doing the windmill. They're throwing ridiculous kicks, and they have no training at all. And you're like, oh, my God, this is hilarious. This is like... This is a crazy idea. You're willing to do something that's really fucking dangerous and risky, and you're not good at it at all.
At all.
At all. I watched a fight go down once in front of the Comedy Store, and it was the nuttiest shit I ever saw in my life. I saw a guy completely lose his ability to figure out what he was doing. Like, he was so freaked out that he was in a fight with this guy. It was a white guy and a black guy. And the white guy is literally frozen in fear and flailing his arms like this. I mean, he just was going like this, like waiting to get hit. And a fucking bus moved in front of me. And then as the bus moved by, the dude was laid out, stiff-legged, unconscious.
Jesus
and the black dudes were already running.
Happy birthday, Mitzi.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mitzi. Is it really her birthday?
Yeah.
Wow. How old is she now? Well, we don't say. A lady doesn't tell.
We're giving shout-outs?
Well, to Mitzi, sure.
To Mitzi. Shout to Mitzi. Shout to my people's Anil Melwani watching from the East Coast. Snow the Product and her brother. You know what I mean? I want to send a shout-out to the whole Rebel Arms, the whole squad that's watching right now, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't go fighting in the street, even if you do know what you're doing. Don't go doing that.
That's the last option.
People got to learn how to chill.
Right.
That's the hard part, right? How the fuck does this world evolve if we're still involved in all the wars and all the craziness and all that? How the fuck do we get past this? The more I look at the life that we see on TV every day and the tragedies that we see in the news and the horrific things that are going on all over the world, the more I go, there's got to be a way that collectively we can figure out how to stop most of this shit. Most of this shit that I'm looking at is people doing shit to other people. We collectively stop that. It's almost like because we're not dealing with UFOs or asteroids or anything nutty outside of the Earth, all of our conflicts are being caused by people doing cunty shit to other people. Like, literally, the whole world's problem is the whole world. The people in the world's problem is the people. It seems like that should be the easiest thing to solve. That should be the easiest thing to figure out how to get past. It's like we're like the crazy person that never learns from their crazy actions. It just keeps doing the same stupid shit over and over and over again.
Or the crazy person that doesn't realize they're crazy, like most crazy people don't seem to get. I think what we're talking about here is really the evolution and the de-evolution of mankind, because we have, we're
so close.
We have the ability to be on other planets almost. You know what I mean? We have the ability to create these lasers, these incredible communication devices, these incredible travel devices.
Cell phones, 4G.
But we have not cured greed. We haven't cured racism. We haven't cured, jealousy, anger, hatred. We're ruled by these things, and people that can control them and know how those function within the human mind have more of an ability to control.
Well, what's interesting is that when things get created, say something spectacular, something destructive, the people that are creating that thing, then that technology gets put into the hands of people that did not create it. They just have it now.
Right.
And that is always a problem. When someone wields something of incredible power and they didn't even create it, you just got it from. So do you understand the whole process behind it? If you are the type of person that can create that, are you the type of person that would be willing to unleash it on people? I think you'd be more willing to unleash it if you bought it. If you got it from somebody else. It's just we have the ability to do shit that we don't have the moral evolution to cope with. We have the ability to wipe out like giant sections of the world in like real quick blasts. And we somehow or another feel like, because we do it a little bit more precisely, like in Iraq, like that's a little bit more precisely. You send actual troops in there instead of just dusting the whole area. It's still a massive amount of casualties.
And they love to use the
same result.
The word, the catchphrase, collateral damage. Which I think is one of the worst excuses for murder in the world.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And the sad part, look at it that
and the sad part is the people who catch the blame are always the people on the bottom, the enlisted men. Like even in Abu Ghraib, when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, watch. All the soldiers are going to get some kind of shit to them, but the people, the commanders, the officers in charge, the people who decided the policy at DOD, the individuals who were at the administration who said, yeah, this is fine, do what you need to do to get this, those people that gave free range, they always escape. They always seem to have their little exit in the back door, while the individuals who actually did it and yet bear no responsibility for being told to do it, or being told this is what we're going to do, or this is in the
Is that what happened in Abu Ghraib? I thought it was just the soldiers deciding to be fuckheads and take pictures with bodies and
do you know,
sick
I'm not
dogs on people.
I'm not going to say that isn't part of what happened, but I believe in all of these situations that there is some kind of culture within the society that says, you know what, if you get caught doing this, you're going to do the time for this, as opposed to whoever is on the top for it.
It's
because
always
you have the benefits
crazy
of being here.
It's always crazier when a stranger is your enemy. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. If a stranger is your enemy, one of two someone's doing something fucked up. It's either you or it's him, and you got to figure out who it is. And if you're in his town and you're carrying a gun, then it's you. You're not supposed to be there. Like, you just, the only way you
looking
would
for
have,
Al Qaeda in a country that don't have them.
It's just fucking crazy. The only way you would have a stranger that's your enemy is if we were in a place where you couldn't communicate. Well, we're not in that place anymore. We're in a totally different world. This isn't the world of 10,000 years ago when we show up on a fucking wooden boat. We hit the beach and there's dude shooting arrows at us. We got to kick some ass. It's not. This is a totally different world we're living in now. It doesn't make any sense.
But has humanity evolved naturally? In other words, if we took somebody from now and supplanted them into that era, would they simply act the same? Or if we took somebody from that era and put them in here now, wouldn't the results simply be the same?
I don't know. I would like to think that we've evolved a little bit, or a larger percentage of us have evolved a little bit because of the internet, because of people's abilities to express themselves in a way that, Monsanto didn't really have to hear from the regular people in the 1960s when they were making Agent Orange. They didn't have to hear, there was protests in the news, and if there's not a bunch of people carrying signs, you're not getting anything from the people. You know what I mean?